Hey everybody, got a few requests on my Firefly build for more spaceships, and seeing as how 1980s Lego Spaceman is my spirit animal, today I'm gonna make a TIE interceptor. For this build, I used a globe, oatmeal containers, a little bit of wood, just a little, all sorts of power tools, foam floor tiles, paint, safety gear, scissors, razor pens, and a box cutter? No! I'm shocked. Gonna start with the wings. I'll be cutting them out of thin scrap wood salvaged from a home remodel. Then, I traced a cardboard stencil of the wings onto the wood to make sure that they would all come out the same. There's a lot of repeated shapes in the Star Wars galaxy. I actually made the classic TIE fighter years ago as a holiday decoration, like a lawn ornament. I'm not a reindeer on the roof kind of guy, but I made the wings themselves out of cardboard so they did not withstand the elements. Hence, wood this time. I clamped that down and cut out the shapes with a saber saw. I had to do this somewhat strategically because the wood's thin enough that it could snap at the edges if you manhandle it too much. So the reason that I specifically chose the Interceptor is that it's my favorite fighter in all of Star Wars. It's pretty straightforward. I don't have very nuanced motives. Not in all of sci-fi. That title goes to the Viper Mark II because it's a spaceship, but it's still using machine guns. I like it. Although Patreon has quite a ways to go if you want to see that build. Link below. Feed my spaceship addiction. Be my enabler. But in the meantime, returning to the franchise at hand, I do applaud the classic TIE for how original the design is, but I always thought that the wings would act like giant horse blinders, you know? You wouldn't be able to see anything coming at you from the sides, like 9 and 3. Really, 10 and 7 on the port side, 2 and 5 starboard. I'm thinking too much. It's a fictional show. That was my hang-up. But the Interceptor pretty much solves that problem. These panels are designed to snap apart along the groove, so I oriented the stencils accordingly to save me some cutting. And when they were all cut out, I prepped a painting space. Suppose I could have done it outside, but nah, a lot of birds around here. They don't respect my car, they're not gonna respect my spaceship. Try getting this thing through a car wash. Pay no attention to the arsenal in the background. Gonna use this old camouflage tarp as a drop cloth. Wait, where'd my table go? Where'd it go? Man, dear dumb. I'm using flat black brush paint instead of spray paint because it's way cheaper when you think about the square footage, the coverage I mean. Let those dry overnight, which is honestly longer than it needs. But in the meantime, I went scavenging for parts. AKA I raided people's trash until I found a globe that somebody threw out. Hide your trash! There's a wild Shakespeare on the loose. Yeah, it's not as adventurous as Daisy Ridley makes it out to be. The arms I made out of oatmeal containers, and I used EVA foam to make the supports, which are really just for show. This whole thing is going to be held up by a wooden beam on the inside. Kind of looks like a classic rocket ship, like a retro rocket. I mean, like not like an RCS thruster, I mean like a Buck Rogers kind of thing. Flash Gordon kind of thing. But for that tutorial, you're going to have to go back and watch the Planet Express ship. I also used craft foam for all the little details. Then I gave that a base coat of black, just because sometimes the box art can be visible through, you know, if it's just one paint layer. I made 2 of those, by the way. It's Bojack, by the way. And when they dried, I attached them to the sides of the ball. Then I made the window frame out of scrap foam circles, left over from one of my many droid builds, I don't even remember. And the slats in between I made out of puzzle edge strip pieces. After that, I covered the whole frame with painter's tape and packing paper. Once I was sure it was completely covered, I brought it outside and spray painted it with flat gray primer. I never have anything to say during the painting steps, so this is as good a time as any to do the patron plug. These are my patrons. These videos don't happen without them, because ad revenue is not all it's cracked up to be. It's a pittance. Doesn't even cover the cost of the foam. So these videos are brought to you by my patrons, who generously support me and make these videos possible. If you want to join them, you can find a link below. Over there, you'll get the videos ad-free and early. So think about becoming a patron so that I don't have to go dumpster diving in the ILM backlot. Next, for the hatch, I cut out a circle of foam, heated it up with the paint peeler, and pressed it into a bowl, then weighted it down with metal blocks. When it cooled, it held onto the curved shape. Then I sanded the edges so that it would sit flush to the dome. So this is pretty rough, but remember, I'm gonna cut large rectangular sections out of here. So it's kind of a waste of time to clean this up. Not to mention it's going to be on the inside. I've mapped out where the windows are supposed to go, which would have been much easier while this was flat, but I was aided by a flexible metal ruler. which are actually great for cosplay, by the way. You know, drawing lines on curved surfaces. Now, this inside isn't totally smooth, but I'm gonna wait till after I cut these out, because otherwise I'm gonna be sanding away, you know, unnecessary material. I sanded the edge again real quick, then I cut out the skylights on a rounded surface. After that, I hot glued it to the top of the ball. I used putty to fill in some of the gaps. So yeah, that'll have to be filed down. I wrapped a half dowel around the exterior to act as a door frame, then I painted the hatch windows black. This will create a more reflective surface, making it appear to be tinted glass. And it makes for a good sealant layer too, so I just went ahead and did the whole hatch. While it was drying, I added a few details that I forgot about, and when I was certain it had dried, I covered up the windows. Then I spray painted it, and yes, it makes more sense to build the whole thing first and then paint it so that you're not adding extra steps. But I'm building this out of the remnants of my original tie, which got destroyed by a winter storm. Those big wings act as sails. I took off the tape, and there we go. Skylights. Combat skylights. So there's the cockpit, but wait, there's more! Gotta add blasters. I don't know why I set it up for this shot. We're doing the blaster. Huge waste of time. I made the mounting points out of scrap craft foam and made the blaster barrels themselves out of PVC pipe, which I cut down to size with a PVC cutter. I glued those onto the mounting points and paneled up the sides. And then masked the window again and painted again. The real takeaway from this build is to plan better. Oh hey, there's something else I forgot. There's a cone on the back, cut those parts out of foam. Then I traced and cut a foam circle. I folded it over along a line of symmetry. In order to get the full shape, here they are as halves. They should look like this. And then I glued those halves together. While waiting for the glue to dry, I made this hexagonal stencil for the hole in the back using a compass like a 16th century navigator on my way to find some spices. I traced that onto a circle and cut it out, and then I hot glued it in place. I filled in some of the seams with putty, DAP Alex Fast Dry specifically. I know that's so repetitive for my subscribers, but I gotta say it every time. I just posted a video, one of these builds to Instagram, just to try out their formats, and I cut out my dialogue, and I've got multiple comments just going, what's the putty? What's the name of the thing? There's no getting away from it. Then attach the cone to the back of the tie. So this was turning out to be a massive waste of quick fill and hot glue. And I mean, the quick fill is meant for flexible surfaces anyway. So instead of wasting all my quick fill on what's effectively supposed to be a hard surface, I'll be using Bondo, which, well, if I don't use it up soon, is about to expire anyway. Then I applied the Bondo. I have to do this quickly because it hardens extremely fast. And it's meant for auto body repair, so it hardens really solid, making it a pain to sand. Oh, and I'm wearing a respirator just because I assume this is poison. Once the Bondo had hardened, I sanded away the imperfections on my belt sander. I did all that and then painted it again. Do we really need to see it again? Let's get back to the wings. I need to change the scenery. I started with the outer paneling on the center rectangular wings because it's going to be such a pain to do once the wings are all assembled. To cut down on painting, I'm using light gray foam from here on out. It actually won't take too many sheets because most of the gray details are thin frames or incredibly small shapes. Then I made all the shapes that disguise the connection points between the wing pylon. I stacked those pieces on top of each other, added slanted pieces to make them look more refined, and then added a million tiny little details to make it seem more intricate and technological, which implies functionality. These are called greebles. Most of them are hole punch outs from scrap foam that's too small to be useful in any other way. I attached those together with super glue because hot glue would be way too messy. I also used gray sprues from model kits for the thinner pipes. Those are frames to model kit parts. The hobby shop was going out of business, killed by 3D printing. Again, hoarder. When I was satisfied with the level of detail, I glued it to the wing. Next, I added a strut, which would be strong enough to hold the slanted wings in place. That's gotta be wood. Then I built up the back of it, which was much simpler. After that, I added details around the center wing blasters. This fighter is mostly blasters, also why it's my favorite. The outside of the wing has far fewer details, but they still take some work. The smallest ones are made from 2mm thick craft foam. I glued those on, and then added a frame using puzzle strips with the puzzles cut off. I have so many of these. Lastly, I added the blaster barrels made from gray electrical conduit. Now to attach the main wings. I ran a wooden beam through the center of the cockpit. For the outer pylon, I used a cardboard core from a spool that someone threw out. These are much stronger than the oatmeal containers, although a carpet tube, if you don't do it piecemeal, if you wanted to do less pieces, a carpet tube would work better. But somebody threw out a dozen spools, and now they're mine! All of your spools belong to me. Once again, guard your trash. I feel like if a rival prop maker wants to put me out of business, all they need to do to to set up a trap is leave out some scrap wood and a bear trap, not to give anyone any ideas. After those were on, I attached the rectangular panels, then I added a gray frame to the triangular wings as well. The point is to cover up the rough edges of the wood. This took literally all of my light gray puzzle strips, thus justifying my hoarding. I'm not crazy, I'm prepared for this highly unlikely scenario, he said to the psychoanalyst. I feel like I'm just predicting the future at this point, and call me Jake Stradamus. I used wood screws to attach it to the wooden frame. Don't worry, I'll cover up those screw holes later with greebles. But first, I'm going to use a wider foam strip that I'm going to attach with hot glue, doing this one surface at a time so that it doesn't pull itself apart. This isn't really adding much strength to holding the wing on, but it does help stabilize it, absorbing, shaking. I patch that up, and we have a wing, also an engine. More on that later. Then flip and repeat, which was an effort in and of itself. This thing is heavy as shit. Now I get why the Nostromo was on a forklift. Let's just build these things out of pallets. I had to pause for a moment to find out if I was under arrest for something. Words finally got out that a YouTuber lives here. But it's fine, I just explained to them that I'm not one of those YouTubers making videos like, we filled an entire above ground pool with gasoline. Find out what happens. Like that's when I've gone too far, in my opinion. Worst thing that happens in one of my builds is I get a splinter. So I got back to it and attached the wing, then the frame details, and finally, the wingtip blasters. Wait, not finally. I always forget about the engines on the TIE fighters because they're so small. They're like pinpricks of light. It's kind of absurd that they can even produce any thrust at all given the size, but we all bought it. Nobody ever walked out of the theater going, well, I was fine with the sentient robots and the talking bears, but that thrust vector ratio was preposterous. Honestly, I think it's part of what makes the TIE fighters so menacing is that they're as maneuverable as they are with such teeny tiny engines. Okay, now I was done. And that's how to make a TIE fighter. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, I'd like to thank my patrons. These videos just wouldn't be possible without the support of my patrons. So if you enjoy these builds, want to see more of them, and want your build requests to carry a bit more weight, then think about heading on over to the Patreon page, where you can enjoy ad-free early uploads. Anything you can pledge goes towards improving the video quality and shop equipment, as well as allowing me to put together bigger and more exciting projects for you on the channel. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of the future uploads, and let me know what other props you'd like to see me make in comments down below. Thanks again, happy crafting, see you later!